wanted to meet you today. So I'm not going to do my introduction because this event is all yours. There will be open questions for you. So please, can we start with your introduction first, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you very much, Cam, for inviting me along. It's amazing to see, obviously, what you're doing in the network. Firstly, with your Punjabi force, and everyone, welcome and thank you for joining today's session. Real honor to be here and be able to present to you all. A little background for myself. I've been in the UK tech recruitment market for 15 years. Worked across enterprise to small clients, and from everything, I started my journey actually in the web digital space. And as the market evolved and we working across more of the CRM markets, I transitioned into doing more Salesforce and digital transformation. So today I'm here as the director of my business, 167 Solutions. So I broke away from corporate life and set up my own agency, which has been great. It's been really amazing to have the support of people that I've known for a long time in the ecosystem, like Cam, and others to be mentioned. And what I'm doing is very much a bit more traditional recruitment. I think today's world, we've seen a lot of organizations now using a lot more AI services to help screen out filters and help in the application process. So I'm still keeping a human relationship. In terms of where we are, there are automated filtering systems, there are access to less qualified people purely because that journey that yourselves might experience as candidates or clients is a little bit disconnected, because now there's so many processes in place in a lot of businesses. You have talent, then you have a senior talent, then you have a senior talent, and then it goes to the manager. So we're trying to make sure that we stay really true in that relationship to people. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to set up my own business, because I know there's some fantastic people that are in the marketplace. They don't always get the support of recruiters, and sometimes it might be just having a little bit of insights, a little bit of steer and direction. And Cam will know, I think when we first started connecting, he was like, Harshil, you need to tell my wife to get into Salesforce. And I always remember this conversation. And that was 5 years ago now. It was COVID time, right? So and now she's absolutely flying. So sometimes just taking a little bit of time out of my day just to help anyone out. I will try my best to obviously accommodate everyone where I can. But we do contract, permanent, we do statement of work. So sometimes we work with end clients, consultancies, ISV partners, but everything that I do is all relationship based that I've built up over my 15 years. So in a nutshell, I'm pretty much here to help where I can. And from my perspective, it's just real pleasure just to be able to have yourselves here in the room.
No, thank you so much, Harshil. So just to give context, maybe I will start the questioning couple of things. So my first question is, as I mentioned, the trends right now. The hottest role in the UK is Salesforce admin. We call it 2 years experience. We call it junior, which means who's switching the career into the Salesforce world, which can be different categorization. One is technical, one is non-technical background. So if I say non-technical person to coming into Salesforce, and that person has done Salesforce administrator certification only in 2026, what is the starting point for that person who has 6 years experience, and what is the trend they have done the admin certification. What are the chances for those people in 2026?
It's a really good question, because I think we saw that increase in Salesforce administration from 2020. We saw a lot more people come out of the ecosystem that were learning. There's some fantastic, I remember your work that you're doing, Cam, with Punjabi Force, and you've been obviously being a mentor to a lot of people through that journey. Um, the, Coming to the point of the trends, I think Salesforce is in a state of change, but there's also a lot of legacy work that needs to be done before that change can be implemented. So if you're doing the administration certification, fantastic. But your data cloud and your data areas are going to be huge, because a lot of what's going to be coming out of Salesforce and the AI space is going to be focused around data cloud and having those niche verticals within some of the like manufacturing cloud, financial services cloud, all those kind of verticals that you might want to then home into. Now, I understand that means more studying, more resilience in going after those specific areas, but that's what's going to be the difference between being, out of 100 people, everyone being admins, to you being an admin plus data cloud plus one of the other clouds or services that come out. The other ones that are really good as well, if you're going to go down the functional side, you've got the business analyst one, which is another really good, interesting certification to take. Now, remember also, you don't always need to complete a certification. Getting the theory, going through the trailhead journeys, and taking that information on board, because you're in
Yeah,
that 2-year journey.
sorry.
Can
Can I say, I want to keep this at admin level at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, because I know we have few admins who has recently done the admin certifications as well. And what you mentioned, the admins also required some data skills. That's right. If we say data skills, which means, is that because the crowd has increased more towards Salesforce after COVID? The people have done administrator certification. They also need to know more and more about the data so they can fit themselves into the AI space. Am I right that way?
Yeah, no, definitely can. I mean, obviously, Agent Force and the way that the platform is now going, the data side, we've got Alok here with a double agent blazer. So we know that the agents and the data models behind that and the data functionality is definitely something that everyone will have to grasp of. Whether you're not doing it initially in your role, it will be something that will be coming for sure, 100%.
Right. Okay. Right. You guys are open for the questions. Anyone can raise hand. So before I ask my next question, anyone have any question right now? Okay, Priyanka, go ahead.
Hi everyone. Hi Harshil.
Hi,
Quick
Priyanka.
question. Thanks for having us on the forum, Cam. Very basic question, like with the change in how recruitment is going on, and Harshil, you did mention about lots of tools being used. For people like us who are new to the Salesforce ecosystem, but have relevant experience from non-Salesforce world, like what are the best platforms to look for jobs? Like again, like you are the recruitment person, so any insights would be helpful to know.
Um, there's no right or wrong answer, Priyanka. Sometimes it's opportunity. Platforms wise, there's so many multiple job boards out there. It's definitely what I find when people are at entry level. Sometimes there's roles out there that might be on charity jobs, which is just the charity sector, the not-for-profit sector, a very entry level role that might get you into the ecosystem, understanding what the platform is. There's other boards, LinkedIn is there, Total Jobs, Indeed, CV library, and I'm not trying to just reel off these names, but they're the boards that everyone will use when you're going for entry level roles. The thing is you want to go into a place where you can learn, and those environments of being able to have someone to support you on that initial journey. So
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of businesses now, we've seen that uptake since 2020. Salesforce's numbers exploded in how many clients they work across, from the small to medium business market to enterprise level clients, which gives us a lot more opportunities. But also that means that there are more entry level positions in some of those other organizations, as opposed to partners, consultancies, um,
Mm-hmm.
that might not have been there. So it it's about being as frequent on those job boards as possible. The other thing as well is having recruiters and relationships. There's some fantastic events that happen up and down the country, which are, the admin user groups, there's developer user groups, there's all sorts of different events that do take place. And obviously, it's about building up your own network and environment as well, which sometimes does tend to help in those first entry roles, because people might have a piece of work. Now, the other part of it is
Mm-hmm.
people also forget that Salesforce is a global product. I know through Super Mums that they do work with countries that are not even in the UK, and they do some of that pro bono work. The pro bono work is unpaid, but it will give you a level of commercial experience that you'll be able to take on. And there might be micro projects around people that you have in your network as well that you might be able to shadow and learn on. But the other thing that I always tell people is, you have a Salesforce account, you have a sandbox. Think of building out your own platforms so you have real experience in your CV that people can actually demonstrate. So when you do go and compete, you're not just going to say, I've got my admin certification. Well, actually, let me show you my sandbox. There's GitHub deposit repository, sorry, that you can also have as well. So, building up that portfolio for yourself, as some of the senior guys will tell you that are in the room, is always something that you can track, document everything that you're doing, so you get into these good habits that will make you stand out from maybe someone who's just in the same level of experience as you.
Sure. Thank you very much, Harshal.
No
Very,
problem.
yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we have Sankita, next person.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I think Harshal has actually answered my question. I was going to ask him about what are his thoughts about creating a portfolio for someone who is recently just qualified in Salesforce admin. I do have other skill sets, which was like a client relationship management and client success manager, but obviously starting from ground up again. So I was wondering about the portfolio, but you have mentioned it, that it's worth having something to show the recruiters and how to stand out, basically.
I mean, being a CRM, actual customer relationship manager, even in my days of doing field sales, CRM was always that before I even knew Salesforce existed as a CRM tool. But there's other roles as well that actually, Sangeeta, you could think about: sales ops, sales operations, which administrators, is another entry level in. So you get junior sales operations. RevOps as well is another space which is becoming quite a space within itself, really.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I'll definitely look into those because, as I said, I have done operations as well in the past. So I've got quite a few different skill sets, but trying to get into the market, which I think is quite competitive at the moment, I'm losing motivation.
The first job when you're going to any type of transition is always hard. Stick within industries that you already know, so you have the aligned knowledge that can come in when you're, if you're in finance and you go and try and work in a vehicle manufacturing plant, they're not going to favor your CV. And also with a lot of the things like Cam's asked about trusting LinkedIn, if you go into LinkedIn, for example, um, they've got now an automation AI bot that might you can ask it. It asks you as a recruiter, is there things that you want people to have specific things for experience of, sorry, and it will then only put those people into that pot. Um, so I think there's definitely areas that people actually forget about, and the industry focus is sometimes the most easiest one, because you can sit in a room, you can qualify that you already know about the industry that those people are working in, so you might be 50% ahead of someone else.
Brilliant, thank you.
No problems. I think Sushant's asked a question in the chat.
Yeah, I was just going to, so yeah, let me say it. So he's a Salesforce developer, experience in LWC, Apex integration. What additional skills should I learn to improve this field considering current Salesforce trend? I think my quick answer is AI. I will let Harshal to answer this question. Maybe Alok can help us as well. He's a tech lead in this space, but maybe Harshal, you can tell us the trend basically on it.
Yeah, I think there's a few really nice points there. Integrations. MuleSoft is obviously Salesforce's biggest tool. There's obviously DevOps tools around GearSet and some of the other functionalities that are out there. But again, you've got to go sometimes into the granular of what you actually want out of the Salesforce development career, whether you want to go into a specialist complete space, i.e., you might want to become CPQ based, so you follow the CPQ or maybe Commerce Cloud space. But fundamentally, I think some of the integration tools, MuleSoft, is going to be a lot more, imperative that people have that understanding. So, hope that helps, Shashank.
Yeah, I think he's maybe typing later on. But so it also depends on the experience. So developer is a very key role, and obviously the trend is changing for developers. So when we say, maybe Alok, you wanted to answer on this one. So what trends? I think your current experience will be very helpful here. How much we should know?
Yeah, so if I'm in industry for now 14 years around, so I can see many shifts now. So initially, when we started our career in 2011, there is very limited number of Salesforce exposure are in the market, like Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, two main entity, very small portion of portals, like which is now Experience Cloud. And in a Salesforce, customization is on Apex classes and Visual Force pages. But nowadays, clients are very much demanding, and they wanted to fast move and quick solutions, and they want to be put money in different buckets. Like they want to try AI, they want to be exposed. Like Salesforce is not like, I would say, like now I just know backend development. I have to be like full stack developer. Today I'm working on Sales Cloud, but my client want to be implement Einstein, so I cannot say like I don't have any experience in it. You should be quick learner, quickly move from one platform to another. Many companies are nowadays heavily investing in AI. Okay, so it is a good way to be learned quickly and prepare yourself. You cannot just say like I'm just a backend developer or I know LWC components, so it is sufficient for me. Nowadays, client is looking for very specific solutioning. Like if you can, how quickly you can learn the new things. Not just, even if you ask me, I have 14 years of Salesforce experience, but if my company asks me to, can I flexible to work on service now? I would say, okay, yeah, if I have support of AI, I would be myself mentally prepared in next 48 hours. The basic concept will be the same, but the development ideology will change. So this is a very generic term which Sushant mentioned here. I know LWC, Apex integration, what more, but how much you have mastering in your technology, that you have to be understand the patterns of integration, how many way you can utilize your LWC components. So because now I'm not sure how the other companies are doing, but I know the big companies like Big Four and the top five platinum partner of and diamond partner of Salesforce, how they are working. They are now analyzing, okay, I can give my developer AI support, but I need development work in 3 days instead of 2 weeks of sprint time. So they wanted now return on their investment on a point of view AI things. So it is very important. So apart from that, what you are bringing your expertise, do you know prompt languages, how you can give the prompt command and do it your work more rapidly. So this is a very big shift, Sushant. You have to be consider that type of things instead of just doing your sharpness on a classical way of LWC and Apex classes.
No. Thank you, Alok. I think that's good for the explanation. So my question is now, this is more from hiring manager. This is for Harshal, because you are talking to hiring manager day in, day out, right? So let's say if someone already has, like Sangeeta mentioned, customer service, customer relationship skills, she's got it. And we've got Priyanka, she's got good project management experience, and someone has more than 10 years of experience in similar areas, right? So when they hiring a business analyst, what's the difference between 2020 and 2026? What are they looking from people? Like, what do they need? Because I can tell with the Salesforce knowledge, let's say Sangeeta has relationship skills and Priyanka has good project management and PMO related skills, right? Just taking an example. Now, they both look for business analyst role or similar to business, which can be customer success manager or business analyst or account management. Three roles, very similar talk. How they tackle one certification? Do they want that person immediately, or they want more skills, or do they want something specialist in Salesforce? What is the difference now in last 6 years? Or is it a
Okay.
tough question?
You've given me a nice question there. Thanks, Cam. But I think always, but if you're looking, let's go pure play business analyst, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're looking at business analyst, clear communication, can you do requirement gathering? Can you interact with different business service users, and stakeholders?
Yeah.
And in the same line, you then have to communicate with your peers, right? So, like you mentioned, if Priyanka, you're the project manager, in this case, Sangeeta, you're the BA,
Relationship. Yeah.
a relationship manager, that you have to align those journeys and roadmaps. So you need to have that success in there. What hiring managers are always going to look for at the moment is, we've mentioned it a couple of times already, is industry experience. Have they already delivered similar journey discoveries, platforms? Are they also going to be able to fit into the team, communicate, be responsive? Because the biggest challenge with business analysts is being able to get everyone on that journey. You are
Yeah.
the mold in between, right? The PM, you're going back to the project manager, you're going to go back into the business, and sometimes you just got to have that fine point of understanding what the main objective is of that program, that roadmap. And when it comes to Salesforce, obviously let's just go with Sales Cloud, for example. That's the first implementation that most people will do. But then if you don't have Service Cloud or you don't have Experience Cloud, then that's quite a big gap of lack of knowledge of learning that you would have to have from Experience Cloud to Sales Cloud. And I'm sure anyone who's in the room that have worked with those three particular clouds, they're the kind of core, what Salesforce would always call like the core clouds that most people and most businesses utilize. But even those three clouds have their own different stakeholders, right? And different people in that journey that need to be considered. So I think obviously when you're doing some of these areas as customer success managers, account managers, and BAs, it's really being able to take someone's story and be able to present it back in a way that project managers can deliver it successfully.
That's a very good point. How to shortlist my CV, kind of, because yeah, Sangeeta is right. What's the best way?
At the moment, we've had even if I say to you now, look, in 2022, there was a lot more people doing Salesforce. Salesforce themselves made cutbacks. Other organizations did make cutbacks as well. So we have a lot more people that are out in the open market. So getting your CV in front of clients, you're always going to be competing. So sometimes going for what looks like an administrative role that you feel like you're comfortable and competent in, it goes back to what makes you stand out. Why are you the person that's going to stand out over the other 200, 300 applications? And that's, in a polite way, there's how many people in a football team or running team, there's only 3 places for medals and trophies, etc. The other people, they're all fighting in the same way. And the market, because I could put an advert out and I would get sometimes in excess of 800 applications for some roles. So there's also a time of when you apply. If you've applied and that application, that CV is an administrator role that you're applying for, and there's already 200 CVs in that pool for the client or the recruiters to look at, they're going to be at a point where they're already inundated with people that are skilled to do that role. So they will quickly shortlist out 5 to 10 candidates that will be suitable. So sometimes it's just a case of, okay, not hoping, but being a bit more strategic. Don't just apply. When you click on a job, look at it, see what the numbers are, see if the job is being advertised in other places as well. If it's the same company, might be sometimes worthwhile going directly to the client, the actual client who's advertising the job's website directly, because some recruiters or some managers might be managing the job boards directly, but also follow up with phone calls. Just make yourself known a little bit more. And unfortunately, there is a lot of people that are in that situation of trying to fight for those roles, but also timing is an important thing as well.
Right. Hey, that's a good one. Let me put some names now. Sumbul, do you have any question? Because I know your experience. Would you like to share anything? Maybe she's away. Okay. Anusha, would you like to ask anything?
Hello, everyone.
Hiya.
For conducting this. Currently, I'm in very peculiar situation. I have taken 1 year break, about 1 to 1.5 years. Before I had experience in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And then I worked hard to get certifications into Data Cloud and Agentforce, but I don't have any hands-on experience, or I didn't work for or volunteer for anyone. So it's becoming very difficult for me to get the roles, because I'm not sure whether to go uh, to Data Cloud, and the roles are very less. They're advertising, but if we go into roles, they're asking for Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. So it's becoming more like an amalgamation rather than the single cloud. So for every other interview I'm getting, I need to relearn something new, and that too without any hands-on experience. So in this situation, how could I? So, uh, for example, next week I got an interview where they're asking for Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, and Service Cloud experience. So I am into Marketing Cloud engagement, and the features have changed a lot from 2023 to 2026. The features have changed a lot, and so how will you deal with this if anyone are in this similar situation?
Um, uh, it kind of goes back to going back into your sandbox, Anusha. You know, going back in there, practicing. So when you do come into those spaces and environments, you've already maybe done 5 project builds on your own personal time, right? Because I think there's a lot of theory learning that happens through Trailhead, but a lot of people don't actually spend the practical elements of practicing. Um, and I, being an engineering recruiter, I know when Alex mentioned like him doing Salesforce 14, 15 years ago, he was working with Java, Pure Play, you know, with jQuery and Spitter Dojo at the time, because it was proper native development. Whereas now, you know, Marketing Cloud in particular has evolved a lot. You've got the Omni Studio parts, you've got the front end scripting, the back end. So as engineering goes, Marketing Cloud has evolved into different areas, but also because of all the other cloud integrations and how it needs to now connect back and send those, you know, simple data packages backwards and forwards, you also need to understand that journey of connecting Sales Cloud to Service Cloud to Marketing Cloud and potentially some of the other clouds that are out there. But if you don't go through that, you know, you doing the theory, getting a certification is great, but getting in those sandboxes will give you A, the confidence, but B, when you go into an interview, you already know that step process. So when you actually deliver your responses within an interview, you will have a lot more confidence in how you are responding. And that's where a lot of people do fail, because they're trying to think what they've learned in the certification to give the right answer, but it's the actual practical part that always makes a big difference.
Thanks, Harsh. It's insight, actually. Thank you.
No
And
problems.
so let's go to Simba. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
just one point I wanted to add. So as Harshil already mentioned here, the best tool you have Trailhead. Practice how much you can and keep very keen eye, because in every release Salesforce changing lot of terminology, a lot of naming conventions and bringing new features. Salesforce is adopting AI very seriously, so they are very aligned with AI. So it's not just as we said, if I have any 2 or 3 certification, my interview will not be on the basis of that. It is like how much I understand new adoption in AI and Salesforce technologies. So your first focus must be on that, and there you have very nice projects and trial heads, end-to-end development, so you can understand how the things are working in a Salesforce ecosystem. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Can I,
Simba.
sorry, can I add
Oh,
some
hi.
experience here?
Sorry, I couldn't get my mic on earlier when you were trying to get me on. Um, I don't know. Like I keep telling people, I have my highs and I have my lows. I come with an Oracle background, and I got certified last year. I've done 2 non-profit projects, and just like someone mentioned earlier, it is me getting in front of an interviewer. But how do you get your CV there? Everybody's saying, oh, you use AI to do this, make sure all the requirements are there. The recruiters too are complaining that everyone is using AI, so what do I do? I really don't understand anymore. And it is getting frustrating because I know I can do it. I come from a background similar to Salesforce, and which is why I didn't mind starting from scratch and sort of like getting the certification. But someone would look at my CV and say, oh, she's too senior for a junior role. I'm too inexperienced for a senior role. So how do I position myself at the end of the day?
I think like what you're feeling is a lot of frustration, and a lot of people are in the same situation, whether you're in the entry level roles or whether you're CIOs, CTOs. The market is not as giving as what it was a few years ago. Decision making, budgets are less. So there is a lots of business challenges that are going on at the moment, but also this with the skills that you have,
Mhm.
there will be a real big need for a lot of organizations to start thinking about where their current legacy base is at the moment in their systems, in their processes, and there will be drivers moving forward. I think what people also forget, look, we had elections, we've had political things. I don't really want to cover it because everyone's, we've talked um, amongst ourselves with our families, our friends, and we see all the different challenges that have come up. But now that the kind of dust has settled a little bit, excuse the phrase, but in terms of where people are actually actioning and moving forward with that decision making, what we'll see is we should start seeing things return to a little bit of normality where people are getting more opportunities. There are more transformation projects, or there is more, work to be done. So obviously, if I give you an example, last year, last quarter, we had 5, 6 roles that were pulled because the client's budgets were cut or roles were moved offshore. So we had a bit of competitiveness. But come January, we opened up the year with 10 vacancies that weren't expected to be there at all from clients that started that journey now of saying, well, we can't pause things anymore. So some of those frustrations that you're feeling are going to be because there is a lot of people looking for those one particular skill set or one area. But this all goes back down to how do you present yourself? What are you doing in the background? Because a lot of people will look for work 9 till 5, trying to ring everyone that they can. But sometimes that can be detrimental to yourself because you're spending a lot of time in a like a circular
Vicious
mindset, whereas
circle, yeah.
exactly. So
Mhm.
what can you do to break it? Well, actually, you could probably maybe spend a couple of hours extra getting a additional bit of training. So you're moving forward to that journey of knowledge, experience, and coming back to my point about practice, right? Practicing the practical parts. So, and it also breaks down your days because then you have a little bit more of a goal and a different type of achievement, not just for looking for work, but also I understand people are under pressure to find work as quickly as possible. But again, we now live in a world where global opportunities are there. So sometimes don't just look within the UK, look within, Ireland's busy, UK's busy, Europe has still got opportunities that you might be able to just get yourself in just to that first opportunity just to get that experience. But
Okay, because
I hope you feel positive though, that's the main thing.
I staying positive. I refuse to give up because I've spent a year on on this, so I can. And exactly what you've said is what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm doing the non-profit projects. I am studying. I'm doing the trailheads. I'm doing the challenge. That's why I'm doing the challenge too. But you know, it's just finding that first role, basically.
Yes, I
It's
think
always that challenge. Stay in the networks, keep going,
yeah.
and it will do. But also, some of the roles that you might have applied for 12 months ago, which were there, people might have transitioned out of it, touch base with some of the older relationships you have, go and revisit some of those spaces because there might be gaps later on that you might have fit into.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no, you just nailed it, guys, on this point. I know I can see a couple of questions on the projects related. I had a very good example. This guy, he's very famous on LinkedIn, Amanpreet Singh. He's from Canada. He writes articles for Salesforce from, I think, since 2024. This guy, I met him in 2020. I will share his profile with you guys later on as well. You know what? I know where he was. He was in a very similar situation. And what he did, that time when he was learning Salesforce, he did extraordinary project actually that time, where he also expanded his service cloud experiences and he expanded into a Experience Cloud. And I'm talking about that was in 2021 when the market was really looking for Salesforce people, right? Even that time, this guy, he had done really extra mile and done that project. And nowadays, that time we didn't have ChatGPT. So going back to Gaurav's question and few others' question, you don't have to look for projects nowadays. Simply go to ChatGPT, Grok, or anywhere. You need to be good in a prompt, right? Ask a right prompt, right question, get your project from the ChatGPT or any other platform, start your building. All you need is a study group who has thinking like you, who can be messaging you, who can kick each other, and you can start building your own stuff with some extra mind skills where you can work together, right? I'm doing this exercise with few of them. They are already on a call with with me right now, and we are doing it. But again, don't think as the same way that what this person is doing, I should do the same way. No, think something else from ChatGPT utilizing and do your own thing with that study group. I will post that link if you want to join that study group. We can make buddies later on, but do that exercise via the AI channel. So Anjali, you raised your hand. I'm coming to you now.
Hi, Harshal. So, my background is teaching, and last year I entered the Salesforce ecosystem. I finished my two certs by now, platform admin and agent force. I made my CV, just applied one to see what happens. But I have two questions from you. So, first thing is you said that enter um, non-profits or charities. When I see the job profiles, they need a solo admin and admin who has just theoretical knowledge and Trailhead. How would they enter as a solo admin and survive? Because I think you need to swim through with somebody holding your hand
Yeah.
to enter the market and be a admin there. So that's my first question to you.
Okay. So, first question regarding that. If they're solo admin, then it depends on the relationship and how much is needed in that context. A lot of platforms that are set up in not for profit, there's a lot of good guides. And what I mean by that is there's not for profit cloud. It has been designed with good templates already for charities to be able to start that journey independently, but also part of it as well is when you're trying to get your first job, they might be looking to hire the admin with 2-3 years experience, right? Is effectively what you're saying, and you're new to the market, so you're trying to get your entry. Now, what I would say is approach those charities, look for the managers, look for the people that are the main contacts. Nowadays, it's quite easy to get contact information of people, and just volunteer, give them a day. Just, you know, a lot of people will apply to get a job because we all fundamentally we need money, right? To live, you know, it doesn't matter who you are in the world. But to get to the goal of actually, you know, you might do 3 months worth of 2 days worth of volunteering, and then you've got 3 months worth of commercial experience. So you're already then in an environment, you're in a live sandbox, you're got commercial experience, and they might end up having 3 days worth of work for you afterwards, or 4 days. Or it also can align because some of the charities will, I know that you know, with super mums there's some part-time work, and there's also those things, but volunteering is a really good way to be able to just enter into that market, quite simply, because you're giving up your time and those technical skills they know that they have to pay quite a premium for a charity, and charities will be more than open. But it's good as well because charities actually give you, if they've built a good platform, they actually give you a lot of exposure to different areas of cloud services as well. So that's maybe a good way to approach it initially, because
So
corporate
I am,
businesses won't take the volunteer route, right? But charities will definitely.
yeah, so to that, I'm a super mom
You
and I
go.
am doing the volunteering bit. So I am doing, I'm attached to a nonprofit and doing a project with them. So that's really, really worth it because I had not seen a live sandbox before.
Okay.
I was in the
Trailhead.
trailhead,
Yeah.
yeah, trailhead, the playgrounds kind of, but it was good to see a live sandbox and understand the system. So yes, definitely that helps. Um, but maybe the idea would be, yeah, do this project and then maybe ask somebody else and again do a project to get feel confident as an admin. Um, Second
Yes.
question to you is, with your pair of recruiters' eyes, what in a CV stands out when somebody's entering the market?
think I think the coming back to that point, proof, right? Proof of ability, certifications, a must, trailhead profiles, your LinkedIn profile, because people now have a lot more, they want to sense check who they're employing sometimes. But I think clear communication, don't be too, sometimes a lot of people will go down the route of I am this, I am that, and I've done this and I've done that, and it's nice to get that, but people just want sometimes very simple CV formats. Don't over do the graphics, don't overdo the details. I think a lot of people, I always say to people, if you were to open up a storybook, not picture related, you know, one that's actually a little bit thicker and needs a few pages, there's nothing to distract you apart from words, but it's very simple text, right? The old classic Times New Roman, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs on a page, and you're done. But if you think about reading a CV should be as easy as that to be able to absorb and read. Having a good punchy summary, and also having cover letters.
Okay.
Cover letters, especially when you're entering, it just shows you've taken a little bit of time to do research on the company, why you want to work there, and making sure that your CV reflects what's required in the job description. Some people will do one CV, but they might miss out. You know, Sangeeta, you mentioned about the market that you're in. Sumba, you mentioned about being Oracle, and Anjali, you mentioned about being a teacher, for example. So, like, if you go to an education business and you don't mention you actually understand the education system, and likewise for those people, other people in the room, these are real key selling points that you might be missing out on. So a structure of a CV, very clear, concise title at the top, a good what I like to call like an executive summary. People call it a personal profile summary. I have asked people to, you know, put in their words and ask ChatGPT to come back out or with an executive summary that gives you a guideline. It doesn't, you know, don't copy and paste it directly, but it does really give you some good guidelines in how to write some of those if it's the first time you're doing it. And then think about your key achievements. Now, those key achievements aren't like high on the I'm responsible for banking and opening and closing the shop kind of thing. It's more actually what are your key achievements where you've been in challenging situations where you might have had to, you know, you might have done your certification in 10 days, but actually you've worked in the volunteer space now with what you're doing for 2 weeks. And in that time, you've been able to create 30 workflows.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
it's more of listing down how did you manage the challenge and how did you overcome it? How much time did you put in to trouble, like if there is a troubleshooting, how did you come out of it and things like that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was fantastic. Yes. I did write my CV and then I saw, oh, it has a lot of theoretical knowledge there, but there's not much of hands-on. So I'm on my super badges now. So
Nice.
hopefully those things give me more hands-on knowledge and I can really portray something. Okay, I know admin stuff in and out on my end. And then any job would teach you as you flow. But thank you very much. It was really nice to know your thoughts around it. Thanks.
But one thing as well, I'd say to everyone in the room, if you are in a lucky situation where you are volunteering and you've got some live sandbox experience, go back to your 0 to 60 days timeline. So from the moment you started to your 60 days, write down everything, document it, make sure you keep a record, because this is I don't know, journalize it is probably the best way to do it, so you have an actual physical record of what you've actually done, because sometimes you can get lost in the work, like we all do. But actually having a good journal of what you've done in your first 60 days, when you go back to writing your CV, you've then got some really good points that you can reflect on as well. So I hope that helps.
That's really good. I'm on my verge of start like 4 hours done, but I'll definitely do that. Thank you.
So I think the next one is Gaurav.
Yeah,
Gaurav,
so
you put his
I
hand
can
up twice, I
question.
think. So
Yeah.
hi Gaurav, nice
So
to
my
meet you.
question is like our organization had a restructuring, and in that restructuring, we faced some layoffs. So in that layoffs, I also lost my jobs. So I do have the 2.5 years of experience and marching towards my career. So how do I approach and entering the Salesforce market? So
You just cut out a little bit, Gaurav, but you've got a current layoff situation happening, and now you're
yeah,
looking to transition into Salesforce.
yeah,
Is that right? Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. I think like some of the points, if you've been listening, obviously throughout, apologies because obviously we've taken a little bit of time, but it's definitely a case of going and following some of the things that I've already mentioned. You know, going down the route of what you're going to focus on in Salesforce, making sure you do the agent force, the data cloud, some of these key certifications that are going to be huge. Um, and the thing is if you're working in this space, then you're going to be easier to employ because you have exposure. But when you're transitioning out and you've got a bit of time, I mean, I'm really sorry to hear if you have been laid off, or that's it's terrible news. And when you're trying to transition out of something into something new, it's about really maybe sitting down with in these kinds of groups, asking the right questions, which you have done today. And that's a really good step because, the sandboxes, the trailheads, all these little community groups that are there, people will reach out and support you um, through your learning. But again, coming back to the point of working and getting a job, that those things are always a bit difficult when you're trying to enter a new market. Regardless, we're hearing live examples of that as we have been questioned throughout today. And I think that the thing is you've got to get that experience underneath your belt, get into those sandboxes, get that real idea of what you want out of Salesforce. There's a technical side, there's also a functional side, there's a sales account management side as well. So I think it's maybe you having a step back to see what area you want to go into, whether it's administrative development or some of the other areas like sales, for example.
So, adding to that, like I have that development experience working with the back in Java development. So, considering like I should land in analyst side or should I go with the development side?
That is, I always tell people if you've come from an engineering development side and you don't mind coding and you don't mind working in that side, then it's entirely down to your own decision, right? Because each one has its own journeys and paths of success. There's solution architects, there's technical architects. So
Yeah,
both sides have a similar path line.
yeah, definitely.
So that is a decision I would have to throw back at you, Gaurav, because it's your decision in what you want to achieve and what you enjoy the most is what I'd always say. If you don't like the coding, but you always like the requirement gathering, the talking to the talking to the business side of it, then your answer's there for yourself. But again, it's always about adding those additional skills in and having a real sense of direction in which way you're going to go and transition into.
No,
Thanks,
agree.
Darshit.
Brilliant. Anisha, do you have a question or?
Uh, yes, this is regarding ChatGPT. So, as you said, I have done a project using ChatGPT for the interview I have done last week. So, I burned my night lamps to do the project using the org and even the marketing cloud next. So, there is very less information in the YouTube, but somehow I managed to do. So how to validate it is that I'm going in the right direction because there are pretty or less information. So whatever GPT is giving is that. So when I have used the same thing in the org, many of those things are not working because it doesn't know where the tabs will be. So how to validate it whether I'm going in the right direction or not for that particular project or
Yes, I've got very good answer because I know many of you maybe haven't seen, or maybe you have seen sometimes. If you log into your Trailhead, there is a very smart option for community groups. Every club, every marketing, sales, or whatever cloud you're looking at, there are channels open already. When I was learning my Salesforce, I used to post questions in those community comments. Honestly speaking, guys, the amount of help I got from people, even they were inboxing me, they were sending me messages on Facebook Messenger. Some people I got connected via Facebook to my WhatsApp messages, and the help I got, flows, formulas, validations, profile validations. Think about it. These are the tough ones. And I'm talking about half a page formula. These, honestly speaking, that community groups so good. And now Salesforce made a lot easier because they have opened up Slack channel. So if you haven't used Slack yet, use Slack as a WhatsApp. You will get to know so many Slack workspaces where people are actually getting help from globally. Just not for like 7 8 people WhatsApp group. No, there are hundreds of people, and I am sure out of 100 people or 1,000 people, one person will always help you. And that works. For me, it worked. And I have seen people even getting help on their, so let's say you are on tough project and you need support, people got the people from there. And it worked. That's, I'm telling you with my personal experience. And I know because I talk to many people, and I know many of them, they tried, it did work. You can validate your things by posting your messages in the community groups via Trailhead. Try that.
And the great thing about Slack is because there is so many people that are on globally, you might be doing something at 10 o'clock at night and half of the UK is sleeping, and then America is just waking up. India's, there's people. So you'll find actually that you'll have different pockets of communities helping you out.
Yeah. I think my simple answer is any Salesforce person, jump on a Slack today. Create, join the channels. You will get to know more people. Simple.
Question to Harshil. Sorry, last question. So, if you are the recruiter, if I ask you for more time for the preparation, will it be a red flag, or do you consider it's a potential candidate?
Sorry, that was more time for preparation.
The thing is, so if I have one more interview lined up, it's for the different cloud. It might take 48 hours or 3 days to prepare for the new cloud. So if I ask you to postpone the interview for 2 to 3 more days, do you think it's a red flag, or like, what do
Depending
you
on the
say about?
hiring manager mood.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the thing is what you've always got to do is when you're communicating with recruiters about your interview availability, if a time slot doesn't feel comfortable to you, then you have every right to say no. I want to delay it. Like, if someone says to you, I want to do the clients, because sometimes recruiters do put pressure on, right? To say, can I have this interview done by Friday? Some people want deals done, etc. It's a bit like because, but they might only have a few slots, so you have to play out each scenario individually. And the reason why I say that is sometimes if you don't have the experience and it's going to take you 3 days, can I be absolutely honest? Are you going to get enough of that knowledge retained for you to be able to give viable answers in that response time of free? I'm not saying that you haven't got a photographic memory, you might have, right? And you could potentially be able to respond in that way, but for you to be positively confident, then you have to assess where you are in that particular scenario of interview to actually say, do you know what, I just need a day, spread it out. If it's like a Thursday interview slot, can I maybe go into Monday or Tuesday of next week? And that naturally gives you the weekend, so you gain a couple of days out of the interview time without anyone thinking bad.
Thank you.
Just don't do it to me though if I've got a Friday slot. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just going quickly to Yulia, Paul, and Aline. Have you guys got any questions?
Yeah. There's Elaine.
Go ahead, Elaine,
Julia?
go ahead.
I don't have any questions, but all the feedback has definitely been very valuable. And then when I look back to my journey when I started, definitely I can remember joining so many groups just to get help, post questions, and then also going on Trailhead or YouTube to just watch short videos to help me work. So definitely all this feedback has been very valuable.
Oh, you've
Sorry.
got another person there with the right response, yeah, for everyone. So everything is possible. You just got to go through that bit of determination and grit. It might take a little bit longer than expected.
Yeah, even just to give you what Eleni, sorry, yeah, what mentioned, I even received questions from YouTube, people asking me, how did you integrate Outlook with the Salesforce? So think about it. So if I can help that person, you will always get help from a community. So utilize the Trailhead properly for community questions. You will never get stuck, and ask the questions in a Slack as well. So, okay, so that will be very helpful for you all. So I think we had a great call today. Lots of information from everyone.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Any more questions? If not, it's a great session. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Harshal. Thanks, Alok, Anjali, and everyone. Basically, guys,
Thank you very much.
It was a great
Thank you.
session, and we will continue this definitely.